What's up, FAMUly? The Avengers have assembled, and we've assembled for a special cause. I think the only one we're missing is, Nick Fury's missing. He's on special assignment though, so Nick Fury, also Brian from the ONG Strike Zone. But you got myself, Keith Hadley, Fangers Up Podcast, Troy, Fat Mouse Sports, Tashay, J Peeps, Marcus Green, Ashley, hat backwards today with Ashley, Mr. Campbell, and of course, leader of the O and the G, one of the leaders of the O and the G, Kelvin Rogers. So we got 2/3 of the O and the G here, man. Look, they figured it out today. Gold teeth and everything. So
yo.
Damn, I should have poured me a cup. Golly.
You ain't got to get ready when you stay ready. What you mean?
That's true. Oh,
look, just mentioning that. Let me go on and put my little nip in here because I'm gonna be in the background most of the show. Rattlers, how y'all feeling today?
Well, before we get this show started, let me just say two things. First of all, in all seriousness, thank you, Coach Colzie, for your 2 years of service. I know you wanted things to be better. We wanted things to be better. Didn't work out, but you were, for the most part, a professional, and you gave maximum effort. So thank you and appreciate Rattler Nation. Appreciate you for your tenure. The second thing is, I know it's tough right now, but in all sincerity, happy birthday. Better days are coming. All right, you can go ahead, Keith.
Likewise, appreciate that, Coach. That drink was for your birthday. So, FAMUly, as y'all heard the news, if you haven't heard the news, Coach Colzie has been relieved of his duties as of today. We'll say about 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. So, normally the end of the day is about 5 o'clock in FAMU land. So about that time, we started seeing a little bit of news trickling out. I saw Off Script Scotty kind of put a post out there. Football Scoop put a post out there for an anonymous source, and we started seeing multiple places start releasing the information. And then, I'm not gonna lie to you, within about 2 minutes of that notification, we saw where our university president, Juris Doctorate Marva Johnson, wrote a little letter letting us know that the standard had not been met and that how important football was. And she also mentioned how important NIL was. So, kind of interesting to see all those things mentioned there. So just kind of mention how y'all feel about this, our introduction and, with the change and everything that's going on.
Marcus, you go first. Because I feel like the rest of us might be a little rough.
Well, we all kind of knew this was coming when things started going south of the season. And especially with the last 2 weeks of the season, with the last second loss to Bethune-Cookman and then the loss to Valley, which was inexplicable. And I mean, for me, like I've said before, I'm not rah-rah pro-fire anybody. So, I just don't. I know this is the nature of the business. Yeah. And what happens, and the record wasn't good enough. So that's the nature of the business. You got to accept that. So I guess I have a few questions we'll probably get to a little bit later. But Kelvin, as you know, I shared something in our Google Drive, even before all this happened, about some things to consider about how things went down the last 2 years. And, we could talk about it a little bit later. But, we got to turn the page, and I hope there's a plan. Because I think this is bigger than just the football coach. It's the administration. I think it's the program setup. I think it's also how alumni function, how much or how little influence we have. And like I asked a couple of weeks on our show, who's accountable if the alumni pick the coach and the coach doesn't work out? If it's not on the AD, if the alumni pick the coach or they put in their favorite, then who's the fall person? Who's to blame?
I love
So
that. I love that, Marcus. You definitely looked at the script.
there's a few questions I have, and we can get to it, but I don't want to monopolize it now. But there's things that I think that at a program level and a school and a university level that need to be addressed, or we're going to set up the next coach for the same thing.
I agree. I feel like Marcus read the script. See, look, I could look. See, I see where I keep Marcus on the O and the G. Some more. Yeah, hey, look, I think he said it best. VM Matt said, "Hey, everybody don't speak at once now. Don't be silent."
Why don't you just tell who you want to go? We'll just roll like that. How about that?
Gotcha. Okay. J Peeps, going on. Share how you're feeling right now. Just with the change in motion. I'm gonna come to Troy last because I feel like Troy got a little bit of pettiness behind him.
I mean, how I feel right now is just, there were like some moments of doubt. I mean, I was hoping it would have worked out. I had anticipated preseason that I felt like this team could have won 10 games. I'll be honest with you. Everybody saw the video. But when you see a defensive-minded coach, and I mean, mind you, I get it. A lot of people have their own personal feelings of Bobby Bowden and Mickey Andrews. For me personally, being a fan of both schools, when I see that you came from that tree and what their principles were and what those two guys taught, I expect you to be up here. I expect you to have the same demand of excellence that they laid out and that they lived up to. So when you come over here and I don't see the same principles being emphasized, and again, I hate to be negative like this, when you put discipline and details on a hashtag and on t-shirts and emphasize it in tweets and everything, and then that's still not delivered, that's where I continue to have a problem. I don't see consistency. Consistency matters on the field. And it goes back to what I had been saying on here and on Saturdays and even on Wednesdays with Ace and on Tuesdays with Bishop. How often are we emphasizing and talking about details, all those things? Oh, I hope I didn't freeze.
No, you didn't freeze. You were perfect there. And we got thugs out to Shay, got us slugs in today. Tell him how you feel up there in the A, make sure if he had his car in the driveway, he might have it missing when he come out. What's going on up there to Shay?
Well, I got my white and a tie on today because since everybody wanted to be, Marcus was all professional and J Peeps is all, I'm gonna be a little gangster with it. Do you know how gangster the university got to be to fire somebody on their birthday? On the birthday? Now, let me say this. I feel bad, of course. I'm not ever advocating for anybody to lose their job. That's not what this is about. I'm making jokes, but I'm not ever advocating for anyone to lose their job. But I will say this. The standard is the standard, period. And if you can't reach the standard, you might get fired on your birthday.
We got another half of the Fang Exchange. Come on, Ashley, how you feeling about kind of what's going on?
Your day off.
Listen, it wasn't on my bingo cards for today. That's for certain. I'll be honest, it wasn't on my bingo cards, but at the end of the day, it was necessary. It was necessary because the standard is the standard, and we're going into 2 full seasons. Maybe not 2 full years. I don't know if you want to call it years, but it was definitely 2 full seasons, off seasons, all the things. Like there was more than enough opportunity to make this thing shake. And I'm kind of a no nonsense, and I'm also a metric driven, improvement driven kind of person. So when it's not improving, then we can't assume that the third year is going to be any better, because the common denominator is the common denominator. New OCs, new DCs, new D-line coaches, new everything. And after a while, you have to look at yourself and say, "Wait, am I the common denominator? What's the common denominator?" And we've had some common denominators in this program, and the standard is a standard, and you just have to live up to it. And coming from an ex-athlete, I'm a firm believer in you gonna barbecue a mildew. What we doing? And this is a barbecue and mildew type of program. It's not gonna work out for you. So it wasn't on my bingo cards. I never am out here just championing for people on, with a white picket with a sign saying fire, fire, fire. But changes was needed. So I said this before. I think I said it last week. I protect the shield, and it's just what it is.
Mr. Campbell, come on through.
Hey, listen, I want to address something because we got a lot of people that are non-FAMUans here. Come on in, come enjoy it. So here's what I'm gonna stop right now, because y'all, don't sit back, and Emmett's my guy, but I always have to address Emmett because this is how things roll about FAMU, and I had to do this with Dave and talking about how people get into school. Listen, do not think that our AD does not know how this decision was being made, and he just will walk in January 5th. Oh, what happened? Come on now, we too old for that. Do not believe that. It ain't how that going down. I'm not gonna tell you how I know that, but I know that. So the bottom line is everybody's on the same page when this happens. So whatever happens when he comes on the 5th, that happens on the 5th. But do not think, just like when everybody's had a job. Yeah. People call you and say, hey, let me just tell you to get you up to speed. So I want to just clear that up because what people want to do is be messy. And I'm not saying Evans being messy, but I know other people, that's what they want to say. Because one thing, people want family to be in disarray. That they love that. And we have some of that brought on ourselves.
Yes.
My thing is this, and I want to be very clear on where I stand. I am a SWAC HBCU baby. There is only 12 jobs in the SWAC. Only 12. There's only 5 HBCU Blue Bloods. We're one of them. So this is a top 5 job. So when you come in this job, the standard is the standard. So there's no, I feel sorry for you. There is no, I don't understand, because you don't have to take this job. And if you did not know that, you shouldn't have took this job, because that comes with it. It's no different with Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, LSU. We are on that same level in our own environment. So that comes with that. So my thing is, when you have a team that was set up last year, at worst, should have lost the Jack State game, which again, we were winning with 5 minutes left, and bad coaching lost that game at the end of the first half and in that game. Bad coaching lost that game. I was there. We should have won that game. Then you turn around with Mississippi Valley, we lose that game because of bad coaching. Then you come in this year with bad coaching, with a team that at the worst should have been 8-4. At the worst. And that's with bad coaching, we should have been 8-4. So let's because you gotta say something. Howard, we were up. Valley, we were up, but then Cookman, we were up. Should have won all 3 of those games. Coaching allowed us to lose those games. So that's what it is, what it is. So my thing is, today it was going to happen. It needed to happen. But what I want to tell people too, just because it didn't happen sooner doesn't mean it didn't happen the right time later. That's very important. And I'm going to say this to the FAMU administration. There is a name or names. Interview everybody.
Yes.
I understand and listen. And I'll say, we have a favorite son. I have no problem.
Right.
But I'm going to say this as a respect. That should be the floor of greatness. Because if Quinn Gray, because like I said, it's not skipping around. If Quinn Gray, I know that'll be greatness. But I want you to make sure that there's no stone unturned. So if there's somebody that's coaching, call them. If somebody ain't coaching, call them. If there's somebody in the broadcast booth, call them. Because the one thing that we found out, and I'm going to say this again because it needs to be said, is we have people applying for their job that is now playing in the Celebration Bowl right now.
Thank you.
I was just about to
say that.
Next.
Let's keep it a book.
And another coach backfield, Eddie George, and another coach is now the defensive line coach at University of Nebraska. All of them are supposedly, according to the NNN, or are part of the candidates forward from the search firm.
So my point of it is that there are going to be people that are going to call us. We don't have to call them. So make sure you pick up the phone, listen to what they have to say. And because see, my thing is, I don't want it to be I don't want to hear. And again, I'm not saying this person's not the best candidate, but I want to make sure that we talk to everybody, because you never know what somebody might bring to the table. And then once you do that, I think the whole Rally Nation will get behind whoever's the next head coach. But what we had last time is because, and this is what I'm going to say to all my young people, never let BS get in the way of execution. And that's what happened to us. We were fighting with the AD and everything, and we were like, and this is how, let's be honest, this is how Colzie got there, is because we were fighting with her because she was trying to stick somebody in the back door, and we were so worried about, which we had a championship team, of all these kids leaving, Then there was said, hey, the kids want him. So you know what we said? Okay, we tired of fighting with you. We at least want to have the kids have a shot to win a back-to-back championship. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. We found out other things that transpired that didn't make that true. So what I want to do is clear all the BS out the way, and if they apply, interview. I don't care if Kelvin apply, interview. If I apply, interview.
I'm applying.
Because
I thought you was already on staff.
Listen. Well, I tell you what, and all this, I will not work as a volunteer. No volunteer coaches.
None.
Amen. Amen.
So if you
Say
are
that
there,
again, Mr. Campbell.
So if you are there, then you need to be held accountable, point blank period, because that's another thing too, which hurts. I mean, it is what it is, man. We all family. I don't care if somebody get mad or whatever, because at this point, the thing what I am excited about, and I'm gonna say this again, Prairie View was us last year. They went total disarray. Bubba got in there. He didn't know who was coaching, who was playing. He came on our show and said, I didn't know who was playing and who was coaching. And 1 year, the right coach can turn around. Jackson State is losing players. They're losing their number one running back potentially.
Yeah.
They're losing linemen. I'm not saying those guys are not coming back. But my point of it is nothing is consistent in this world now. So what Jackson State think they might be, they don't know. Now, they're going to keep recruiting and replace it. But my point of it is we have just the amount of ability to get in that portal and flip this thing around and be right back in the celebration ball.
Facts.
Definitely facts. And look, my wife got jokes. Sure, I see what God has done for us. Maybe he can do the same for others.
Hey, hopefully.
I was like, you gonna bring me a FSU cup to a FAMU show? She started laughing. I was like, that's why I was laughing though. So I wasn't laughing because of what Mr. Campbell was saying. I was laughing because she brought me an FSU cup because I had to water down my beverage a bit. Come on through, Kelvin. Come on, man. Actually, yeah, we're gonna let Troy finish too because we seen Troy to drop the house on people.
Yeah, the Wicked Witch is definitely dead. So let me say, along with what everybody else is saying, a couple of major concerns for me around the Colzie era was, again, volunteer coaches with too much influence, and secondly, losing the locker room. There were definitely players, parents concerned about how the program was ran and having opportunity. And nobody, of course, that's something we wouldn't talk about at the time. But now that we're here, it showed on the field. I also made a statement, I think it was last week, I can't remember which show, that FAMU may not have a say in who get hired, but we will always have a say in who get fired. So play if you want to. And lastly, when we talk about the standard, is absolutely, as you can tell by how all of us are reciting the similar thing. We dead ass serious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You may get 3 years, you may not. Where he lost me, for sure, was the end of the Bethune-Cookman game. I was not happy. I did not have a good feeling going into the next season. But having been administrator and understanding some of the lay of the land with what's going on campus, I wasn't trigger happy at that time, right? I didn't think we would see much improvement. I understood that some kids may get in the portal, but I was like, okay, it was a competitive game. We screwed it up. But when we lost the Valley again, that was a deal breaker. I'm just be straight up. There was absolutely no way I was going to be happy or supportive for a third year. Especially given the talent that we had. This was a talented team. And the fact that I saw no improvement from game one, especially on the defensive side and special teams for the most part, no improvement We kept losing games the same way. We couldn't hold on to leads. We were playing teams that had terrible offenses, scoring 6 points and 9 points the previous week, and they come to us and they back up quarterback throwing for 400 yards. I mean, come on, man! In the first half, it was just ridiculous. It was a bad
they had
start.
me believing that Valley backup.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, he
they
probably
had me thinking that Valley backup was also maybe not that bad.
Hey, he probably in Porter with that film right now.
You know, probably. We on everybody highlight reel.
On everybody highlight reel.
Fooling somebody, lying to somebody. But I'm just saying, it was really bad. And then you talk about the off-field stuff. You know, there was reasons to not be a little concerned about it. You know, like I say, there's some transition. We got AD starting, but as Ms. Campbell pointed out, absolutely everybody was on board. With from the university president to the people in between that, along with the new AD, and I want to see the thing. I want to moving forward. I'm satisfied with this part of it, but there's another part of it that has to be executed. Now that you've made this decision, we got to bring in the right person, and we got to do it in a very expedient timeline. I don't want to see a committee. I know that those in leadership have a short list. So I know one person in that process has plenty of experience and understand the culture and the fact that, you know, there's kids in the Porter, there's early signing period, there's people making decisions right now. So this is something that cannot fester. Frankly, ideally, we need to have something solidified by no later than Monday of next week. That would be my ideal. But again, when you make a decision like this, you got. I would hope you already have your list of candidates, and I can live with that. I personally can live with that, long as it's vetted and it is not based on feelings. Person got to have the credentials. Got to have been a head coach and been successful. I don't want no projects. FAMU's not a place where you learn on the job. We are where we are because of that, and that's all I say for now.
All right, Troy is next. You only got 5 wins. What's Troy about to do? Act a fool. Come on,
come through, Troy.
He put a note out that he was having internet issues.
So, first off, yeah. So if I crash out, it's because of my internet, not me. First off, being a Knoll and Rattler Nation, difficult one, of course, is a difficult one. I get to see on a regular basis, because of history, why people don't like Florida State. Understand, when you come across those tracks, excellence is understood. Ain't no 12-12, ain't no losing seasons. You have to win. Understand, everybody's talking about being fired on his birthday. I love Earl Holmes. He got fired on homecoming. You ain't special. If you don't leave on early signing day, you don't get fired. You get fired not on your birthday. All that being said, what everybody said, I agree. What was it for me was when I lost an eyebrow. I'm done. And should have lost 2 eyebrows.
I was like to say, he cost you 2 eyebrows, didn't he?
So
1 per season?
Yeah, cost me 2. Yeah. So it's like I gotta live. Like, I gotta live here. I love my FAMU people. FAMU is the reason that I got to Florida State in the first place. So I can't. I don't just lightly at all. A coach losing his job, I don't take that lightly. But dog, come on, man. Come on.
That was not the crash out I expected.
Did J Peeps go?
He did.
Oh yeah, I went. I was hoping I didn't freeze.
Nah, you did good, man.
Yeah.
Nah,
Okay, cool.
I guess I'll finish off before we go to the next part. But for me, I was with Kelvin. I was okay. I wasn't okay with 6-6, but I understood the finances part of it. But it was when we lost to Valley again. It was when we lost to Cookman again. Well, not again, but how we lost to Cookman. Those things right there for me were beyond frustrating. And you started losing me a little bit in the Howard game. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Y'all definitely saw how much I really was about to crash out and did crash out on that moment. But just kind of going throughout the season and not seeing any like significant changes. And then even seeing in some areas being emboldened, it became a place of frustration. And it was like, hey, if we don't make a move, that was a problem. And I was with Troy. National Signing Day, to have 2 players sign, another one's in limbo, and I'm in Orlando. Cookman just went to Jones and got him one. Jones is going to the state championship. How many student athletes are we seeing? Tennessee State just went down to Miami Northwestern. Excuse me. We know what Northwestern is. They just got him one today. How many times are these other schools going to keep violating your borders? Like that state line means something to those of us who are from Florida. You don't cross that line for recruiting purposes. Only reason you go across is you go to get something. But other schools that are quote unquote blue bloods, but that ain't even got their own on-campus stadiums, should never come to Florida and steal your players and your talent. Unless it's Jackson State. That's the only excuse I can give you because their program's been doing something. But in all actuality, that's when I started being like, bruh, we ain't heard from you in a couple weeks. I was cool with that. But it was once recruiting season started hitting and I started noticing that the first had become the last, I had a serious problem with that. And, I wish Coach the best. I said I didn't want him to get fired in all actuality, but I do understand the standard is a standard, and what must be done eventually must be done immediately.
Keith, can I just say this about when you said that the financially you understood? My season took a very drastic turn when I actually went and took a look at the contract, at Colzie's contract, and learned that he did not necessarily have a buyout where we would have to pay the entire year. That's when it took a change for me. So I felt like, personally, once the blowouts at home were it for me. That was it for me. Losing to North Carolina Central, then Alabama State, then Jackson by 40 points at home. After we went nearly 4 years without ever losing at home. Mm-hmm. That's completely unacceptable. And like I said, when I really began to see that there was no true buyout, that changed for me. And like I said, I'm not advocating for anybody's job. I understand that what is connected to him is not just him. You know what I mean? He has assistant coaches and all that. And my heart goes out to everybody connected to this whole thing. But the standard is the standard. And my job is not going to say to me, you got a light bill to pay, you got a mortgage to pay. If I don't do my job, they're going to get rid of me.
Hey, Keith, let me talk about what Tasha. So I did try to get an understanding of this. If I misquote, I'll take it on me about what Coach Colzie is owed. From my understanding, he's owed between $80,000 and $90,000. That's what he owed, not a full $250,000. And it's based off of weeks and time off and things like that. Yeah, but I wanted to ask that question because I was like, all right, who I need to start calling? You know what I mean? To find out. And so that's the first thing. The second thing, I want to be very clear about FAMU academics. There is a difference between freshman class average and the minimum of an athlete to have to get in. They're not the same. Second of all, when you see players that have trouble getting in, it's not on the underclass issue. Is many of these kids are for the grad school, and the grad school has a different standard than undergrad. So that's the reason why with some of these players, especially the quarterback, I think tried to come from Kansas State, he was trying to get in grad school. There's a totally different standard. As you got, most of you guys have master's degrees and advanced degrees. As you well know, you have to have a certain level to get into a master's program, and you have to maintain a certain grade level. So I want to be clear because, see, this is the people are going to go back and look at this, and they want to hear the truth and facts. Other people are going to talk about family, don't know what they're talking about. So I'm going to be the arbiter of truth. So let's be clear. Tasha's correct. We do not owe him $250,000. From my understanding, it's somewhere between 80 and 90.
Correct.
Second of all, it's not because stop looking at, thank God FAMU has raised their level where people got to have 4.0, but that is the average. That is not the minimum to get into FAMU. Every school has a minimum. Doesn't mean that you have to take the minimum, but for athletes, that's what they get in. So all our athletes are not 3.7s and have to have 40s or whatever. That's not how that works. Okay. What they have to be.
But we are not an open admission school like other schools coming in as freshmen. It is a much higher standard compared to who we recruiting against.
Right.
And
but it's not where we got to have a 3.5 though, or something like that. I know that.
And also, my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but also some profile admits we may have cut back on that as well. We might not.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's another aspect of it, in that there might not be as many leniency given with the profile admit aspect. And I want to address I guess a couple things I see in the chat that, we did get 2 signings last week, which is a far cry from the 11 that we have verbally committed. But out of those, we have at least 4 or 5 players who are playing their respective state championship games coming up, and none of them have decommitted. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, because there was a tweet from someone from Reigns about TJ Cole, and saying, didn't say anything specific, but not from him, but somebody else. But we do have at least 4 or 5 players playing for Reigns, and some of our other verbal commits got knocked out in the most recent round in the regional championship or state semifinals. So it's not like nothing's being done, but we do need to get that wrapped up, because now that we're on the clock with having a coach, and we have some verbal commits who are hanging in the air and not sure, and plus whomever comes in, whatever contacts they have, signing, or at least the transfer window opens basically right after the new year, and people making decisions now. And then we also have at least 6 or 7 players so far who publicly declared that they're in the portal, just from Instagram and from Twitter, just the things I happen to have seen. So there's a lot of churn going on. So it needs to, in order to be able to have sufficient talent and even retain the talent that we have, we need to have something done pretty soon.
Also, this is the last week of classes. So those student athletes, they'll be gone by the end of the week. And some of them I would be making decisions while they're away concerning that transfer period. And there's some uncertainty. So the new coach coming in going to have to, do some outreach while guys may not be face to face and try to convince some of those. So that's why timing is really important at this point. We can't mess around too long with this.
Mm-hmm. And
I want to say something.
Scale. So to that point, it looks like it's just a flat 2-3 now. Like there used to be a sliding scale. So if you can get like a flat 2-3, you can get in. But again, as y'all mentioned, athletics changes it. So when I did NCAA at Jones, there was a sliding scale. So it was based on test scores and everything else. But this per Dr. Google, looks like you just need your courses and a 2.3. But again, as Kelvin mentioned, FAMU has an additional eligibility there.
That's the NCAA sliding scale. Right?
That's the NCAA sliding scale, right?
FAMU is above that. FAMU
is not happening.
Precisely.
We had our former coach to come in and say flat out that
exactly. Yes.
With a 2.8,
Coach Shue.
Something.
Well, no, Coach Shue would tell you, and his teams have some of the highest GPAs.
Exactly.
With the biggest numbers. But he'll tell you that recruiting at FAMU is a little more challenge for him versus the people he's recruiting against.
Precisely.
Because they can get in kids, frankly, that he can't get in.
Exactly.
That is the real thing. That is a real thing.
But hold on, Cal, but here's the thing. Wait, I'm sorry. I just want to address.
Go ahead.
But this goes back to the point. We had, and Marcus knows this, in the portal, what, we got 30 kids each year?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
We lost a boatload
so
that
they
year.
were qualified to get into FAMU.
Yes,
30
yes.
kids.
And the majority of those kids tend to be like near or at the end of their academic career. So a lot of those kids have actually graduated. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
those graduate and AA are different from freshmen.
Right.
The conversation,
Right,
the
but
conversation I'm
what
having
saying
is for those
but see,
freshmen.
but even with the kids, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to be very clear. If you look at a lot of these kids, and Kelvin, me and you around the same age, stuff like this ain't the old day when people couldn't read. These kids have tremendous GPAs because they know that. So what I'm saying is, I just don't want us to put this mental block that we can't get talent to FAMU. That's my point.
That's not true.
No.
Yeah, that's because that's what people say, that there's this narrative that FAMU is Harvard and that you got to have a 4.0 to get in, and that's what I want to be clear on. That's not true.
I wonder who said that.
Now,
I'm gonna address it. I'm gonna address
Mr. Campbell.
I'm gonna address it. Don't worry.
We got some other APR stuff we need to handle, so they don't need to be Harvard, but they can't be
W.
Tread lightly.
Again, but wait a minute. I want to be clear on this. Again, this is okay, and I guess my point of it is, it's about, we brought kids in that fit the requirement, right?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start there. None of those kids made all SWAC. That's my point. So again, if you're going to get kids, you can get kids in. It's about evaluation of the talent. That's
And
what
development.
my point of this. Because we are getting kids in. That's all I'm saying, is that we're not saying, Colzie didn't say, I only could get 5 guys in. He literally got 30 kids in. 30 kids that he deemed that he thought would be a benefit to this team. And I'm just using the all SWAC model because, again, if you look back, and Marcus, you know this, historically, if you got, and it's kind of balances out, you got more all SWAC play, you probably got the best team. It kind of works out like that. When we won our championship, we had the defensive player of the year, the offensive player of the year, 11 guys all SWAC. So that's all I'm saying, is that I just want to be clear. And like I said, of course, APR, but again, and I don't want to get too far off on that, but that also has to do with some compliance stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot more than
it's a lot more than just
APR. It's definitely loaded.
I don't want to borrow that, but I guess my point of it is, I just think the show is so important that we clarify for people, because you see the stuff in these groups and these things, and then people call me, and I'm like, that's not true, because even and Marcus, maybe we'll get into this. Even there's a D2 quarterback. People like, how's he getting offers? I had to go find out. It's a different rule for D2 players than upper level players. D2 players right now can get offers from anybody. Yeah. Right now. So these are things that I just want to educate people while we're on here tonight. So that's all.
Come on through, Troy.
I have over and over watched FAMU fall on the sword. Not tonight. Luther Campbell, Mr. Move Something, started this BS earlier today.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Since you are a mentor of young men, you know when they're in the 10th grade where they are academically. Since I was in high school, you started preparing for after high school in the 10th grade. Get them kids the things they need so they can be prepared to come to Mother FAMU. If you ain't got nothing else to do with that, shut the hell up. I'm done.
Amen.
Well, and let me just add, there's kids who come in with 3.5 GPAs, but they may have came from schools that weren't considered highly academic atmosphere, or they might have not taken enough of the kind of courses you needed, college prep courses, or the kind of courses you need, or they may not have had the test scores. There's a lot of things that factor in coming into FAMU as a freshman, besides just your GPA. So, I just wanted to make sure I add that little context to it too.
I want to point out a comment. It's going away from the academic side, but the recruiting side. I saw somebody in the chat mention they were hoping that TJ Cole, who is the quarterback at Reigns, who committed to us, baller. He's going to the state championship this whenever it comes up in a couple days or weeks. He was heavily recruited by Coach Burris, who is now the interim coach, obviously quarterback coach. So it makes sense that that's who was heavily recruited by. He's still committed at the moment, but with Coach Burris still being interim, there is a good chance that he'll he'll stick and, you know, come along. Now, I'm not speaking for him. I'm just going based off of what I've seen, that he was recruited by our current interim. And we just have to do the work to, you know, like it's been said, do the work to keep these guys committed that we believe, you know, can make something happen at FAMU.
Mm-hmm. We have TJ Cole. Yeah, TJ Cole from Reigns playing against our offensive line commit Anthony Bell from Miami Northwestern. We have an offensive line commitment from young man Iggy Zalatia, hope I pronounced that right, playing for Cardinal Newman in the Class 1A championship. And we have, what's the other one? We have 4 people playing for Class. Cedric Kelly with Creekside out of ATL playing in the Class 4A championship. And we have another young man we just offered about a week and a half ago. I can't remember his name, but he plays for Hebron Christian, and they're playing in the Georgia private state championship. So we made the offers, and actually, ironically enough, TJ Cole and another commit, the young Devin Anderson from Godby, both of them were initially offered by Coach Riz. So the coaching staff did a good job of following up, or maybe just noticing the talent. But both of them were originally offered back in 2022 under Coach Riz.
Marcus, real quick, TJ Cole is still in contact with the program. So just because he has not signed does not mean we have just dropped him. He's still in contact.
Yeah, that's what I mean earlier. Nobody's like gone away from. The only 2 commits we lost from early August were the young man who went to Akron. He decommitted in October, and he went to Akron. There's actually another offensive lineman out in California who committed to Alabama State. He decommitted in October around the same time, mid-October, and signed with Alabama State last week, a week and a half ago. But other than that, we haven't heard anything from the people who are still on the fence.
You see the Knowles offer.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yes, I was trying to pull that up on the see if I can find it.
Starting QB, who said that?
We don't know who said that.
Now you got to work for this.
That's a fan. You know, you can't.
Yeah.
But
now,
yeah, I mean,
I will say. Oh, go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, Knowles has been getting offers all day because he posted. Posted his transfer thing probably like within minutes. He was getting offers from just about every HBCU.
Let's be honest. Not only is he, you know, because he had some previous experience at the Group 5 level and then his success at Albany, but you know, there's a lot of speculation. I know we're getting ready to go there of what that means. So I firmly understand why JSU and some other programs will offer. Yes, kid is talented, but also you don't want to play against potentially folks you got to see. So I mean, I get it. He's supposed to get offers.
Yeah.
Now,
so Michigan. I'll let you finish, J Peeps, and we'll go to the next segment.
Okay. The only thing I was gonna say is, you know, and me and Bishop have been like beating this drum for the longest. The one thing I will say is like hearing those names and those kids that have received offers. It is good to know that we are recruiting kids from, you know, state championship level programs or teams that are consistently playoff teams or teams that, you know, are always in those like state semifinal rounds at the least year in and year out. And I hope that, you know, because there are plenty more programs around the state of Florida and up into South Georgia and even in the Atlanta area that, or even hell, even like going over to Alabama too in Texas, like keep in contact with these high school coaches, keep in contact with these kids in these programs. Look, I mean, for weeks this whole season, I've constantly said, you know, and I've told Troy this in private, recruit Hillsborough County, whoever the next coach is. I know I get it. Dade's got dogs, West Palm, you know, all those other counties have dogs, but still, you know, and I'm going to call it the elephant in the room. Yes, the janitor wannabe head coach that's supposed to be cleaning toilets versus being behind Colzie. Yes, I know he went to Jesuit, and that's also part of the problem. And look, I went to Tampa Catholic. I'll tell you the truth. Don't ever trust somebody that went to that high school on Himes. I'm telling you now. Do never put your faith in.
He was high school smoke, boy.
I'm telling you.
I'm gonna go for his meal drink.
All I know is the boys in Tampa Bay came over to Orlando and got that molly whopping though.
Now, and they did too. They did too. But I will say this: that is a high school that you should recruit. That place. Tech,
and they've benefited from
it.
We've had their recruits come through the last couple of years.
Yeah, like dude, I've said it for weeks. The kid that's he flipped from USF to Auburn. ironically, the quarterback at Armwood, I told Ryan Stanley, I'm like, look, that kid reminds me of you. Truthfully, he might be better than Ryan. Like, we could have at least just slid him an offer. But again, I say this for the 8th week in a row. There are 3 defensive linemen at Armwood right now that all look like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter for the Eagles. Why can't we go get one or all 3 of them? I'm just saying. So that's my spiel. Recruit from winners around the state.
Yeah,
and actually,
and that's so important. That's so important to like you gotta have some winners. Like if you can put somebody how to win, they already know how to win or something. Well, who is that?
So it was at this moment you knew he fucked up. What was the moment that you knew this season that Colzie had messed up? Uncle Steve, you're in the middle. I'll start with you.
No. Let me go. I'm gonna just jump in real quick.
Okay.
For me, if I'm totally honest, the Central game. Once you get beat by 30 points at home and let somebody put 40 on you, that was the 3rd game. We was 0-3. Well, 1-3 because we had paid Alabama State. But when you get beat that bad at home and brag, when you ain't lost in like 5 years until last year, the Valley, I was like, well, this train is officially off the track here. So for me, if I'm honest, that was the moment I think the tide turned in Rattler Nation.
Yeah, it was Alabama State for me. And then NC Central kind of like put the nail in the coffin.
Come on, Ashley. Ashley was ready. Come on now.
I'm gonna say something a little sooner. For
you might be
me,
thinking
it was
the same
Albany
thing
State.
I was thinking.
It's Albany State. I'm thinking about that onside kick.
You got Babico too?
Yeah, that pissed me off as well too.
Look, you got Haitian rum too?
That's what me and Tashay talk privately all the time, right? And I told her, we're gonna make this. I'm gonna personally make this to Albany State's game. I will see how things look based on, because winning is one thing, but barely winning is another. So Albany State was the game where I was like, yeah, this ain't it.
That was the only loss of the year though. Just saying.
Yeah. Ashley,
they want a typical D2 squad now.
Right.
I do agree with you, but no.
Ashley said we talked privately, and she made a comment. She said, she was saying that she was giving him to Albany, which would let y'all know that he had lost me way before Albany. For me, it was the Howard game. I gave him the recruiting. I felt like he was really trying to recruit in the offseason. I like what he put together. Well, some aspects of it, maybe we'll get into that. But I like some aspects of the recruiting, but the way that we lost that game in the last minute, the last, 30 seconds or whatever, I was like, oh, this is not it. It's not it. So
it was the quarterback, but the reason that wasn't a be all for me at that time is because I figured he was still trying to figure out the quarterback thing. I think we all expected the QB2 to be the starter. So that caught us all. That all caught us off guard. We thought, at least I thought, it would self-correct within the next couple of weeks, and it never happened.
Yeah, Howard was it for me.
Yeah.
No, I don't know for me per se. When I was, I'm still not trying to get nobody fired, but I knew the tide was turning when we lost to Jackson State, just because of the visceral reaction of Rattler Nation. Whenever we lose to Jackson, it's anything, tickets, whatever it could be, So when we played a good first half, and then the second half, just like I guess right at the end of the first half, when we gave up that big run, and then they scored, and then coming out of halftime, fumbling on the kickoff, I was like, this is not going to be good for the rest of the year. It doesn't matter if we win out the rest of the games. It's not going to be good. People are not going to like it. So I knew the nation was turning right then.
Yeah,
hey, Marcus, I got a question. You said you don't want to get anybody fired. The person actually has been fired, brother. You okay?
You okay? I'm saying at the time.
Oh, okay. I'm just letting you know you okay. You
good. I can't fire nobody. I know I can't.
You can't.
It's been done for you.
You know how to say. So sometimes you ain't got to pull the trigger. Just put the gun in somebody else's hand.
Yeah, like I'm saying,
I'm
I'm
just
saying,
making a joke
like
when
I'm
he
saying
said
to
it.
Kelvin.
They already got
to
Ricky.
Kelvin that
He
I
can't
think,
run no more.
Bethune-Cookman, that might have been the nail in the coffin, but the Valley loss was putting Gorilla Glue around the edges.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drag Keith into this, but I'm gonna go back for me, and it's just unacceptable. It goes back to that Valley loss. That just, and you gotta understand something. I have been around Mr. Valley at their height with Jerry Rice. Other than that, is you don't lose. But Keith, and I'm gonna say it because you know I'm telling the truth. It had to be the Alabama State game. We were sitting in that press conference, and I asked Coach Colzie simply this. I said, Coach, we're only averaging 3.6 yards a pass play. Did you think maybe throwing the ball short and getting your playmakers in space was part of the plan? He said, keep in my line, I don't know.
I was there.
You were right.
Yeah, when you say stuff
And,
like that,
and
that's
then then the guy from Jacksonville doubled down and asked, have you considered switching the quarterback? Remember, I believe.
And what was his answer?
And he was like, no. I never thought about switching the quarterback.
So he said, I'm going to have to talk to the offensive coordinator to see what happened. And I'm like, bro, the game was happening. That's when you're supposed to be talking.
Was that the game where they said they're not going to go home until they get it right?
No.
No, I think that no.
That was
that one.
No.
That was North Carolina Central. That was North Carolina Central.
I mean, that was a waste of time. That was ass.
Yeah. So when you say that, that's when I was like, and I looked at you, and I said, yeah, there's no way, because that means you don't have control of the team. The communication, when you say you don't know, I'm telling you right now, we're probably going to interview Tremaine Jackson, Chinnisberry. They know what every coach is doing at all times and all the players. You think TC Taylor doesn't know in that championship game what's going on with Lorenzo Quinn? They're going to stand on what happened in that game because they're lockstep. So when you go back, and again, and Keith knows that I was not trying to be petty. I was asking a question.
It's fair
because, maybe this is part of the game plan that just didn't work. And when he said, I don't know, I'll have to talk to Coach Burris to figure out what he was thinking. I was like, that you just can't, because the buck stops with you, which then leads into, and Kelvin, my thing is into that press conference at the SWAC Media Day, and there was not any responsibility taken of that loss against Bethune-Cookman, where you could have said, I should have been better. I should have got these guys better. But it was the NIL, it was the nutrition, it was this, it was Tashay, it was Ashley, it was Mark, it was all of us. We didn't block a tackle. And I'm just a person, I'm just a big person. And like I say, we got a lot of teachers, and I know you got teachers. It's about responsibility. It's your responsibility to turn your work in on time. It ain't your mama, it ain't your computer going down. These are things that we're teaching people at a very young age about responsibility, even when they have children. Why didn't I get this? Well, you did not perform. So my thing is, again, when you say those things, and this is what I'm talking about, this is a top 5 job, and we ain't 5. Okay? Let's be clear on that. So when you say that, then you don't even understand what this takes to be a coach in this job. And like I said again, and I'm saying this is no joke. Me and Keith looked at each other. I'm like, did he just say that? Gerald was in there.
I had a good poker face all season to the Florida Classic. I'm glad you wasn't in it. Troy, I tell you, that was the one day I had no poker face. I ain't had no face that day.
Yeah, and that's why Bubba McDowell, and exactly that's why Bubba McDowell is not the coach no longer at Prairie View, because exactly what he said.
Yeah. Troy, did you get to say one, Troy? Troy was in the media room with us too.
Listen, for me, now that Mr. Campbell brought back some memories, I think y'all know, like, I had a running joke, but I was serious when I asked the question. I would start the question out. I know you told me not to ask about your quarterback. I did that on purpose. And the reason that I did that on purpose was because the quarterback was going to be essential for transforming this offense this year. You brought in a JUCO All-American that did not need a spectacular line to throw the ball on time. I'm in the end zone watching plays late, overthrows, underthrows. I'm watching that. And I got to ask myself, did you have enough time to prepare for the season? Because you got your quarterbacks in late. These are the questions that I had. And for him to tell me not to ask about his quarterback in SWAC media sessions, I was done. I really was done, because it went to what your team identity was going to be.
Troy, he told you that?
Yes.
Do you? That was
Yes.
the reason I kept saying it.
Yes. There was a reason after the second game I stopped asking.
Well, it was a reason, but it was a reason why he didn't want you to ask about it.
Yeah.
Even though we all knew what was going on. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think for me, so we could put a wrap up. The Albany State game was where I first got serious concerns. Like, I was mad at Howard. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was mad. Like, that was my crash out moment for the season. I purposely said they sucked. I still believe they sucked, and their record showed they sucked. But they ended up beating a team that wasn't well coached. And then the Albany State game, I said we got lucky to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I meant it. I did not mince my words. I was officially done looking at it and just remembering it. Honestly, homecoming. Because I watched that game and I just watched, and I was having flashbacks to the Valley game during that game. Because I remembered that Alcorn State almost won that game at times. And it was like, okay, you keep trying to tell us these same things are okay, but I know it's not okay. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a man, everybody been in a bad relationship, and this feel like a bad relationship where you just telling me it's okay, I'm gonna do better. Narcissist, you're not about to do better. You're gonna keep doing the same thing you've been doing over and over again, and you're gonna keep telling me it's okay. And at the end of the day, I know better. I know it's not okay. And and that was just, for me, it was like, this ain't gonna get no better. You're gonna keep trying the same guy out here at these multiple positions that have these flaws, and I'm gonna start asking you questions about what's wrong. That's why I started asking what's wrong versus, okay, is this, is this, or that, and that, because I wanted to see, could you give me solutions? And I kept noticing, much to Mr. Campbell's point, the solutions always came a week late, and we always made our game adjustments a week late. When you went back and watched the video, you were like, dang, we adjusted a week late. This is the wrong team. Why are we doing this against this team? And it seemed like even against teams that we knew they had a certain, like against the Jackson State. I don't know if y'all remember the post game for Jackson State when he was like, I'm worried about their pass. DFUK? Like, why are you worried about the pass? You just need to stop the run.
It was Jackson. He sure did.
And it's like, are you serious?
Yep.
And I'm just sitting up here like, I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't have Babico in my time, because that poker face was gone. Like, I was like, all right, coach, if you like it, I love it.
Man, them press conference was tragic, man. Me and Keith was sitting in there just like
every week.
And the thing about it, there were not any gotcha questions.
No,
there was not.
They sure was got
no.
Willie was getting gotcha questions. I can't lie to you. We used to ask Willie, like, hey, why aren't you running this formation, that formation? Because we were trying to get him to admit, like, this formation don't work. We weren't even doing that. We were just like, hey, coach, I kind of want you to see a better way of this. This isn't working. Hey, what's not working about the defense? You had all this experience, kind of let him vent a little bit. You've been an All-American defensive back. You've gotten a chance to see the pros. You didn't necessarily play in the pros. Can you share with us what you're seeing? How frustrating is it? And it was like, man, they're just not executing it. And then you go back and we do. Honestly, what really woke me up was when we started doing the film reviews ourselves, and we started showing the plays, and we showed plays, and we were like, did we see the same defense last week?
Yep.
He just said in the press conference, Troy, you remember this defense worked in X game, and we're like, me and Troy, I looked at Troy and I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? And we're just like, you just got burnt. You lost the Classic because of a defense we know that doesn't work. And then the next week you did the same defense against Valley.
We did the same
and we
thing.
broke it down on this show and showed it didn't work. And I was like, bro,
and got beat the same way with that.
I'm with you when you're right, but right now I can't be with you.
Well, I appreciate you all professionalism and commitment to show up and ask questions. I wasn't about to waste my time.
No,
I miss good tailgate.
You ain't been a lie. You ain't been a lie to me or not say nothing. So I appreciate Kiefer providing that, because I watched his replay of all those conferences. I just couldn't sit up there, and I'm not disciplined. I'm still working on it.
So our next question, and much to Marcus's point, Marcus read the show notes. What does this all mean for FAMU? Y'all know, if you watch Fangs Up, it's a show with a purpose, right? Normally the purpose is to find out what's wrong. Like, if there's something that we're doing right, the sports and everything else that is going on is always kind of hidden with, let's figure out the problem and the solution. What does this mean for FAMU now that you fired Colzie? Your Burris is the interim coach. We don't know if he'll be on the new staff. Hopefully he is, because his offense is actually kind of doing something. I would love having an extra quarterback coach. But what does this mean for FAMU as an athletic program and as a university?
Let me throw some things out there, something that kind of alluded to a little earlier. And I had typed up a little document, kind of like what Gerald did, the case for, case against. But, that's a moot point now. But some of the points. Should be, or if there isn't already, a clear mandate to improve the football team APR. I think we're the lone team lagging behind. Meaning some of the recruiting strategies have to change, or whatever the case may be, in terms of the type of athlete we recruit that has a combination of grades to get in, whether it be transfer or high school, and also to maintain those grades and have the talent to maintain the winning level. So it also means some of the culture has to change as well. Because Colzie mentioned a little bit, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, in one of the press conferences, he mentioned, we made a championship, but the APR, So we look at the APR numbers, then they're a little lagging. And I don't know, I have to look at the numbers, but I'm not sure if it's even mathematically possible not to get APR penalties next year based on the rolling 4-year average. So
it is. We need a 970.
That's one thing that needs to be addressed and can't be lagged, because this has been like a 20-year issue. Because I went back and looked at some of even Earl Holmes' record and things like that, and records like that, and with their winning record and winning percentage, and there were seasons going back 2005, 2012, where we had APR penalties, either level 1 and level 2. So this is a 20-year saga that we need to get out of the cycle of doing. So that's more administrative support. And also with that, with the short-term fix that was here when Sykes was the AD, are those sustainable, or was it personnel driven? Those need to be sustainable, because we wouldn't have a 20-year cycle of messing around with APR if we put in something that's sustainable regardless of who's in place, a system and sufficient support. So had we regressed, it was personality driven or personnel driven on one person's initiative, or is it something we need? It is something we need to embed. And also the last thing, we need stability of leadership. We've had 5 ADs since December 2017. So 4 ADs under Larry Robinson, which includes John Eason, Courtney Gaucher, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, Angela Suggs. Kellen Winslow was left April 2024, hired April 2024 under Mangum and Milton Overton. So we're looking at more or less 7 ADs since 2014, 7 permanent. That's not including interims. You can't have stability like that. So we got to get some stability, at least have somebody in the chair long enough for their butt print to get imprinted before cycling people out. We're just having too much cycling going on. So all of those things, regardless of whoever we hire, are things that need to be fixed at a systemic level.
Great, Marcus. And I'll just add that with the stability of the AD leadership, also how the university, what will help that is how the university treats athletics. We need to institutionalize some things from a resource standpoint. budget and otherwise, inventory wise. Athletics need to control his own. You all have heard me say this before. They need to be their own auxiliary in every way. They need to go to their own contracts. That includes concessions, drinks, merchandise. Because athletics, if you want them to be a true auxiliary, and they need to be able to control that revenue because they have real things that they need to do. And that might not be a priority for a university department outside of athletics who has control of that inventory, i.e. the North End Zone and other support functions. So you hit the nail on the head. From a cultural standpoint, we definitely have to the support the ADs, because we brought in some cases some pretty decent ADs, and they're successful. They have been successful after they left. But our culture is one where we're going to keep turning them over because we keep blaming the AD, and it's just higher than the AD. Mm-hmm. All right. So, but what's next and what it means? Well, it means a couple of things real quick. It means that when you come to FAMU, ain't nothing changed. So somebody said earlier, when you get here, regardless of all the pitfalls that are there and how crazy we are and everything that's going on, you better win. And I ain't talking about 3 years down the road.
Nope.
So, and I think what it also means is that when you bring in whoever you bring in next, when you bring in a coach, I really harp on this, and this applies to the AD position too. It really needs to be somebody who's kind of seasoned and successful. This is not a job where it's your first. FAMU should not be the first job that you're the head of anything. This ain't for you. You're not going to be successful. It's so much you have to deal with here.
And you have to learn the culture. Like the only way you can almost get around that, and I'll own that. When I worked at FAMU, I had never been at management before. I had managed people, but I never managed business stuff. But because I understood FAMU culture, I was able to get away with it because I understood how FAMU worked. I knew how the work it was going to take. But you cannot come into FAMU not ever having had, one, dealt with us, but two, ever had the position before and expect to have success unless you have some systems in place. And much to your point, when I look back at Colzie, some of the things that failed him was, one, he didn't have a Troy. Like, you look at what Willie had. Willie had a Troy. The other thing Willie had was a Riz. So what did that do? That made it so that the coaches could really focus more so on coaching. Did they still have their recruiting zones or recruiting areas? Absolutely. But you notice when it came to like the actual recruiting pitch and all that other stuff, Riz started that. And then the actual day when they did the recruiting, they met with Willie and they met in the Lawson Center. He does his big production. It was a really nice thing, but you don't get to that if you don't have some of these systems in place. And I don't think some of that infrastructure was in place for Colzie. And I agree with you, Kelvin. If we don't put that infrastructure in place, and Marcus as well, that the next person is going to fail as well unless we build better systems.
And one other thing I want to add, and I'm kind of going to put Ashley and Tasha on the hot seat, but I'll put the spotlight on you, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I truly believe we need FAMU Athletics to put out an announcement or an official partnership, if they haven't already, with FAMU Exchange. Clear up any confusion on this NIL stuff. Make you the official conduit and the vehicle for NIL, because you've been putting in the work. Stop playing around, and trying to, we're going to make it the official. Let everybody know it's one thing only, and just go forward. So I don't know if that's been done, but it needs to be.
I got a question, but I thought the issue was legally we couldn't do that. I thought that was the issue, that the collective.
Florida State's done it with the Seminole. With
Wait a minute. Because I'm just asking a question because I remember this discussion and I'm trying to bring some clarity to this. Is Florida State's NIL in-house with the school, like everybody else is now, and the outside collective? Because that's how Florida State actually got in trouble with their coach.
Oh no!
No. That's the other one. That's the other one. That's the other group. They had two.
And then there's the Spear one.
And
Rising Spear was the one that got in trouble.
Yes.
Okay. And that was outside collective, right?
Battles In is
both of them were outside.
Hold on.
But Battles In kind of took on the official.
Real quick.
Oh.
What happened with that Rising Spear, and I have a video that says effing Rising Spear on our channel. Rising Spear had an issue with the offensive coordinator taking a recruit to meet the CEO. That's where the violation happened. That's one. The other part was the collective agreed to a contract with basketball players and did not pay. That was the second problem with Rising Spear.
I
So the
remember
CEO of Rising Spear, I hope you stub your toe every morning at 3 a.m. while you're going to the bathroom.
I remember because that's why Leonard Hamilton was.
Had to get a good brother of my organization about the paint.
Yeah, he was caught up in
I
it.
just wanted to, I thought that was one of the issues was because of the rule at the time was that the collective had to be a separate entity.
The third party third party,
but
it's changed. Like these rules changed.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But these rules, they were changing so rapidly.
Now, and I also now I know because we also are going to have our in-house where we're going to start paying athletes.
Revenue share. And that's revenue share. So those are two different things.
Right, which is totally separate. Okay, I just wanted to, because I guess again, and the reason why I'm saying that, Marcus, and I'm kind of doing what people are that's listening to us are going to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because I literally asked that question to people at FAMU, but it was early. So to y'all point, it probably has changed because I wanted to, because I know y'all were working hard, and I'm like, wow, I never see any of it. And you got to know Eli's my classmate, so I know literally what's going on. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint, and I had a conversation with him, and there was a lot of confusion to that point. So I just wanted to make sure we were clear. So there is no issue that there's a time between Fang Exchange and FAMU going forward legally. So it shouldn't be no problem, to Marcus's point, why you guys should be ingrained in all fundraising and things like that and stuff like that. Okay.
And even to answer questions, because in separate chats, I'm getting questions like, no. You know, you need to, like, people aren't aware and this, that. I said, well, Fang Exchange, I remember Ashley and I had a conversation, maybe a year and a half ago before you guys kicked off. And we bounced some things off of each other. And just about when Fang Exchange was getting ready. So it's just in terms of answering questions, you're already out there, but you know, some people don't have YouTube, some people do this, some people don't do that. So it's like, how do we get that information and minimize what I call market confusion in terms of who's doing what, who's responsible for what DSO is doing this, what DSO is doing that? How do we minimize individualism, everybody wanting to be a chief versus being an Indian, and consolidate into organizations that are functional and not having similar efforts that are approaching different people, but having one funnel under one or two different channels.
Hey, Marcus,
that's very important as it pertains to the NIL, because again, Fang Exchange has been doing the work. Eli Patrick, who has kind of been doing some work as well, and just it's one of those things where you do need to be one band, one sound, like I like to say all the time. And there's also, since we're here, there also is a narrative that FAMU is not, you know, leaning into NIL, and I'm just going to make a blanket statement. That is not true. There are plenty of things that are happening behind the scenes that's not being broadcast in manners in which others have been broadcasting, that is actually happening. And these conversations are happening almost daily, pretty much. So there is NIL that is being pushed out. I mean, I know our ex-coach made comments about lack of support. I can confirm that there are entities, including Fang Exchange, that engage in NIL with student athletes of multiple sports at that. And so let's clear the air, since this is what we're here for, to make sure that it's known that we are doing the work. And just because you don't see some, you know, grand, massive announcement does not mean that the work isn't happening with these student athletes, and that there's more work to be done. And there's also some things some conversations that have started and have been going on actively with our leadership. You can know that as well. And that's as far as we can take it at the moment. But myself and Tashay, even Eli, we are all interconnected, talking at all times. I'm pretty sure Mr. Campbell knows that. We don't always talk about it.
Being real nice though, like when she's talking about, like, we had NIL students, and let's be honest, you know, I mean, obviously coach is gone. We didn't have any student athletes that came to any of the press conferences until the Florida Classic. That also is outside of press conferences. So this has been a complete regime change, where under Willie, we got to see athletes all the time. Even last year, we got the same 2 or 3 athletes. This year, from the onset of the season, we've not really had communication with our athletes. And you've seen where that probably is spread over to the NIL space as well, where some of these students do have NILs, but we didn't get to really talk to them about some of those things. And I think kind of going forward, especially with new administration coming in, that's one of those things to talk about where, you got to, and it seems like, Juris Doctorate, Marvin Johnson kind of gets a little bit of this NIL stuff, that we need to be able to hear this, because if they don't say that they're getting NIL, everyone assumes you don't get NIL. So you would assume, hey, you got some ranch, whatever, chips or whatever, ranch Doritos, I'm going to eat them. I don't eat ranch. I don't like ranch. Guess what? I don't like ranch. You don't know that. Now you know that. You don't know that who's getting NIL and who doesn't, because sometimes our program doesn't celebrate our athletes well enough. And some of that is from the home of our program.
Can I jump in real quick on this? There's some things that going forward, what this means that stop asking what FAMU can do for you and what you can do for FAMU. I say that to say this. The great thing about Fang Exchanges is that when you donate, they give you something back. They shouldn't have to, because we all want to thump our chest about what our athletic programs are doing. In order to do that, we need to be able to be competitive to land talent. Yes. NIL and revenue share does that. I keep throwing up this banner because it is part of my mission, because of what FAMU has done for me, to get people to buy in. And it ain't the young people. Well, I'm told it is the young people, but I'm going to say this. From your grandfather to the person that's getting ready to graduate from FAMU, all got to understand the benefits of revenue share in NIL. And to the ones that don't think that we should be investing in this, that is a wonderful aspect to have while you got your $75,000 a year job and you're not trying to figure out how to get $199 Happy Meals like we did back in the day. It's a new day. It's a new time. Invest in Fang Exchange. I know the political backdrop, we all got this issue about what they want to put into FAMU. The program ain't going to get better without you. Invest in the athletes.
We love that.
Correct.
And mentioning that, what are some of the lessons we've taken from this? Because we're going to get to where does FAMU go forward from this. Maybe you can kind of share who and what you think. But what are some of the things that we kind of learned from this? Marcus, I told y'all, Marcus was hitting the nail on the head with some of this. He definitely read the show notes, but I think within everything, there's always a lesson. And that's not just because it's a beautiful song, but what are some of the things that now that we've seen the Colzie era, after the Simmons era, after the He Who Shall Not Be Named era, and after others, what have we seen about FAMU? What do we know that works? What do we know that don't work? And what can we do to change it?
Keith, let me say something. What I think what we've learned, and I found it very funny because we were in an era of FAMU. Well, we were a band school. All I heard was March 100. Willie Simmons comes in, Coach Simmons. He brings us back to our roots of a football school. Nothing against the March 100, but you can't have the March 100 performing without the football team playing. That's how it was started out. So one of the things I think we have learned is how important that sports is the port and the doorstep of Florida A&M University. Mm-hmm. And when we have a positive athletic program, football, because that's our flagship sport, and then you start rolling into now women's basketball, men's basketball, of how much money you will get engaged from alumni and from outside entities, because everybody loves a winner. Everybody loves a winner. So what I will say to President Johnson, if you want to look for a win that hits a lot of people and goes the distance, invest into our athletic programs. Understand what is needed. You'll be amazed, because no matter what, I'm not going to get into the political things, but I tell you what, people don't care if you produce. Nobody cares what your affiliate. If you produce, so my thing is, this is one of the things that if you make a correct hire, that everybody gets on board. If you reach out to these young ladies and say, what do I need to do to help you all get more money to get the athletes we need, right? Then all of a sudden, you have winning people, because people always laugh about attendance. But I'm going to tell you something about attendance. Attendance pays bills. If that brag is packed, that means bills get paid. People always talking about Jack State attendance rate, but when that vet is packed, 40, 50,000, they get to do extra things. So to me, what should be learned is how important that this hire is for her and this administration, and going forward, how these people that are on the screen, that, like I said, I'm talking about Tasha and Ashley especially, that are beautiful Black women that represent Florida in it. They should be on posters and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're alums, they're young, they're out here.
Video board.
Yeah. What'd you say, Keith?
I was saying on the video board. And
they need to be on that. This is how you market this. So that's, to me, what I've already learned just having this conversation, because that's what I would do. Because again, no matter, because I tell you what, we get that Celebration Bowl next year, Charlie Ward is winning, Coach Precious winning, these championships roll up, you look a little bit better when you walk out there saying that round the strike. I'm just being honest with you.
I'm tired of being the butt of the jokes. I'm tired of being the butt of the jokes.
Exactly. So this is the thing that when I hear your question, if I'm sitting up here, I'm always about this. To end the losing streak, you got to win one game. So win one. So start with athletics, get you a win streak, and then move on to the next thing that are much harder, that are much more difficult. But when you got literally people here to say, hey, the right coach, because I tell you what, the right coach gets hired, we're going to be rolling. And Ashley and Tasha, because Tasha rolls with them jokers over there on social media, bless her little heart. But they know, let me tell you something, and Tasha knows this, and Troy too, and JP, all of us, they are so scared if we get this hire right, what the hell is about to happen?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, no.
They begged for us to maintain the status quo coach, because they know if this coach get hired, will be no different than Prairie View, will be no different than South Carolina State a year ago, no different than Delaware State. We'll be right back just like that. And we're going to brag different. They can't stand it.
Facts. Big facts.
Facts.
You know what? I'll go next. What we learned, football is also entertainment. We want to win, but we also want to win with the exciting brand of football that we are used to. You want to get people in the stands? Give you an all-SWAC quarterback. Give you a Hall of Fame wide receiver. That's put butts in seats and sells tickets. That's what I learned. Looking at halftime and people leaving. Me sitting on the sidelines, working the sideline, wondering, should I really go to this press conference, or do I need to hit Kelvin up and go get this tailgate? That's what should have been learned.
God damn, should missed out on some good post-game food. I ain't gonna hold you. I'd be so tired after that game. Like, good Lord.
I learned.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I learned very quickly that winning leadership matters. And when I say winning leadership, I mean before you got here. I don't mean when you get here. I mean where you were previously. You need to have some winning mentality, some winning experience, some winning points that you can bring over. Because one thing about this job is that you're going to have to teach those under you athletes and even assistant coaches and everybody in the field house. You're going to have to help teach them how to win, because they may not be, a keen and used to winning. So you just need to, when you come here, I can't speak for anybody else's program, but when you come here, you need to have a winning mentality when you walk through the door. You need confidence when you walk through the door. It's something about T-Jack saying, I want to make it to Atlanta. That man is doing exactly what he said he would do. So not to bring anybody else's school in it, but I think the biggest thing that stands out to me, because a lot of things about that we've seen happen with us these last couple of years or era, should I say, I haven't learned it. I know that we're not playing what he said. You got to win and all the things. We know that. But one thing that really glaringly stuck out to me is you got to walk in here with a winning mentality. You can't figure it out on your way. You need to walk in here with it. When you interviewing, that should be what you're interviewing for. When you walk through the door and you recruit those guys, you evaluate those guys, you bring in your coaching staff, you bring in all the support staff that comes along with it. You got to be yourself. You got to believe before you can make somebody else believe in you.
Yeah. I'm hopeful. So what did I learn? I was I was a little concerned that I didn't know. Let me say that because we have new administration, a lot of new leadership. I didn't know if the new leadership, and since we gonna let it air out, we gonna let it air out. There was a lot of bogarting going on in this season, a lot of coming in and doing whatever they wanted to do, and a lot of people coming in. So I was not sure if there was going to be an understanding of the fact that we, as Rattler Nation, we want to win. We don't accept mediocrity. We don't want to be middle of the pack.
Nope.
So I was concerned as the time was going on that we weren't going to be serious about athletics or serious about this football, because ultimately, when we talking about all sports matter, but when we're talking revenue generating sports, football is the cash cow, and that's just what it is. And so if we are, mediocre, middle of the pack in football, it trickles down on our other sports. And so I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic in knowing that, our current administration, for whatever reason, whomever, they understand how serious we are about athletics. They understand what it means to put leaders in position, winners in position to be successful. So I learned I feel like we learned that what we always knew, FAMU was going to be okay, which is what I've always been saying. We're going to be all right. Our sports are going to be all right. We, like Kelvin said, we may not control who get hired, but we sure going to have some say on who get fired. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what we learned, that it's still some hope for where we're going and what our administration understands as far as Rattler Nation and our expectations.
So the one thing that that I learned from all this, I would say, is yes, like the right amount of leadership is important. Consistency is important. I'll go back to even I know Troy doesn't want to hear me say it, but Kirk Herbstreit was saying something a couple of years ago about how Miami's structure was and how much of a mess that was. I look at us and I say the same thing. The president, the AD, head coach, all three of them need to have the same vision on where they want to go about this whole thing. The next thing I'll say is also, too, and I know a lot of people have also said it in the chat, and a lot of people have also said it here this evening, when you go get a head coach for this job, they need to have a proven track record as a head coach, not as an assistant, but as a head coach. You need to have won somewhere before. And again, comparing schools, I'm not going to compare because I think we're above the rest of these schools in this conference academically, and we should be athletically. I'm going to go look at Kirby Smart when I say this. People laugh at him with like his facial expressions and stuff, but when he says, what is our intent? When he says our intent is to hunt, when he says to a recruit, when you come to the University of Georgia, you will be a hunter. You will not be the hunted. That speaks volumes. When you come here to FAMU, your intention needs to be to hunt. You will not be the hunted. And the next head coach, whoever that may be, I clip this and I hope they see it. What is our intent? Our intent needs to be hunters. We need to be dogs. There needs to be that emphasis on, again, controlled aggression. People need to fear us. I want to see us put people in a phone booth, but at the same time, too, I want to see us also make it a track meet. I hope by halftime, the guys on the other side of the field are literally on their knees sucking wind. And I have a bone to pick with a lot of these other teams in this conference that got off on us these last 2 years. I literally, and I know it's actually going to happen, but as beautiful as it may sound, I want to see some of these coaches run across that 50-yard line and get on their knees and beg for mercy. That's what I want to see. I want to see Raymond Woody sweating in the fourth quarter of the Florida Classic. I can't cuss on here, but basically crap his pants because he got his butt beat. That's what I want to see. Exactly. 1-2, go hunt. That's the intent. See, that gets me juiced up. That gets me juiced up.
That's Smitty Rock right there. That's Smitty Rock.
Exactly.
Sure.
No, that's what it is. That's what it needs to be.
I think I'll jump on in that way because I know Kelvin and Marcus got one. A couple things, lessons learned. First and foremost, FAMU's not an island. I know, much like Troy, I do have an experience at the Florida State University. I worked at the Office of Financial Aid at the Florida State University. And the first thing I learned when I worked there, my bosses were Rattlers. The director at the time and the assistant director were Rattlers. We didn't have financial aid lines except for 1 year, and everything ran smooth. And my bosses were Rattlers. And so it got rid of that whole but FAMU excuse. And I learned a lot of behind the scenes stuff of why it was different at FAMU versus FSU. A lot of it's staffing and size. But the other thing, we have to modernize our facility use. One of the things you notice that they're doing across the street, they're modernizing how they use their facilities. Doe Campbell S Stadium's not just only being used for football games, they use it for concerts and other things. We have to find more ways to make money with what we got. Like, it seems like the only multi-use facility we have on campus is Lawson and sometimes Gaither. Like, and we use Gaither for Demp Week and homecoming. We use Lawson for basketball season and graduation and some concerts. You have to draw more events onto that facility and into that area that are going to generate revenue. Much to Mr. Campbell's point, when you're bringing in revenue from other places, you can then use that revenue. And much to Kelvin's point, if it's going to athletics, it can be used for athletics and it can upbuild your program. Other thing, hire the right person. Like, we've all said it, but T-Jack interviewed for this job multiple times. We've all mentioned the names of people who've interviewed for this job. FAMU is not the place for a first-time coach. It's just not. Unfortunately, very few first-time coaches excel at FAMU. It's a very small minority. The majority of championship coaches that we celebrate at FAMU, especially in football, they've been elsewhere.
They were champions when they got here.
They were champions when they got here. You had a ring when you got here. You just added something to your finger when you got here. The other one, use your resources. Like, use your alumni. Use the loudmouths that you have on here to continue to push your agendas. Like, you literally have people here who are on a Monday night. We were like, hey, we're going to push it to Wednesday. Now let's go Monday. Because we wanted to get in front of this because we knew that other people would get in front of this. They would spend it a certain kind of way. And we want to make sure that you hear from FAMU people who have been here every week, every football game. One of us has been either at the game or somewhere near the game, and we've talked about it. And then the last one I have is make connections. Like, you have to make connections which extend outside of the highest of Seven Hills. We love our university. It's a very closed society. But unfortunately, the problem with a fist, you can't get nothing in and you can't get nothing out. We got to open our hands. We got to have our hands opened up so that we can receive more, until we can do more. And a lot of times we all understand how the closed society works, but we also don't realize that when it's closed, we can't let anybody in. And I feel like, y'all, when it comes to some of our leadership, some of them are outsiders, and I agree with y'all that some of them don't belong here, to be honest with you. But I also understand the same point that if they can bring something to us, because I'll say this, I said this week too, let Colzie keep losing. Marvin's going to get rid of him. Y'all don't think Marvin got tired of sitting up there looking stupid at the football games? Like, okay, it was cool for her to be looking like, inebriated and whatever else and doing a rattler charge because we told her to do that. We did. Like, hey, get like Humphrey. Humphrey was drunk up there. Go follow him. But you don't think at the end of the Florida Classic she was looking in the room and she was embarrassed? That lady was definitely embarrassed. You don't think when she went to Itabena after that game and she was following the football team, shout out to her. She rode the plane, that she wasn't embarrassed because her friends was in there with her. I ain't telling you what people told me. I'll tell you what I saw. I know some of her friends. Oh yeah, I'm being a suite with Marvin. Oh, that's what's up, bro. So it was embarrassing. And so this wasn't simply an athletic director move. So the things we've learned is that we've got to grow, we've got to build, we've got to extend, we have to find new ways to make money. We have to embrace revenue sharing, find new ways to do revenue sharing. We've talked about the FANG exchange. There's some things you got to do different. You may have to find some new ways to get some money. And unfortunately, look, you may have to find some with Triangle Sales and find some deals too.
Right.
So, just going to
all right, EA. All right.
Yeah, always starting trouble.
All right.
Yeah, always starting trouble.
Hey, every time them picking greens out there, she be ready to stroll. I don't know if she can stroll or not, but she be ready. Like, Nuck, if you buck, you want to.
I'm always be sisterly. Don't ever start it now.
Oh goodness. Did you have one, Kelvin?
I think I kind of covered everything. You all have done a massive job, so I'm gonna punt other than say P3, athletic P3.
Look, did y'all catch Devron kind of mention that? I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, it's been talked about. I need execution though.
Yeah.
We got threads going back to like 2015 about the P3. So we need to get on that.
P3.
And just picking up from Kelvin, I think my three things are what I learned, what we can't underestimate the importance of alignment in terms of the athletics vision all the way up to Lee Hall, implementation of best practices as it relates to what we see works that we've done ourselves, and also cherry picking what has worked for other people and modifying it to us. And also just consistency, having sustainable leadership, having sustainable processes that people can follow, people can have buy-in. And I think that's what we learned, because we had either lack of all three or one of those three across the last few years. Whenever we haven't had success, we haven't had either alignment, implementation of best practices, or willingness to listen to implement best practices, and we haven't had consistency or sustainability in leadership that produces a consistent vision.
You said something there.
Hey,
All
Keith,
right,
come on,
Ms.
can I
Kelvin.
address something? Go back. Somebody talked about how much. I think it was about what do we need to spend, right? Let me say something about this, because again, people know Jack State probably has, and Ken put it out there, I think they said they raised almost $300,000 for their NIL, not counting that they get $5 off of every ticket for their NIL. I think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But I want to tell people something. Coaching matters, because with that being said, Ohio State has a pro football team and lost to a team that don't even have half their NIL.
Facts.
Because Coach Cignetti is a better coach. Coaching matters. Jack State has all those NIL guys. Forever ain't got no T-Jack had said, listen, you come in here for NIL right now, don't call me. But I tell you one thing, those boys were hitting.
Yes.
And this is no disrespect to Jack State, but what I'm saying is money does not cure all ills in this. And if we get caught up in that to say we got to have $700,000 for NIL, we're not going to win, because Ohio State literally showed they have the biggest, greatest NIL of all time. They got 10 first rounders on their team and got their ass handed to them by Indiana because of coaching. So to me, it's a couple of things that it goes hand in hand. Get a great coach to build players that we want to spend our NIL on. Okay.
Yeah. Let NIL be in addition to that.
Guy that ain't all swag. Yeah. I know, and Tasha ain't gonna say it. It's hard to raise NIL for guys that people don't see as stars. Okay, I'm gonna say it.
Or don't like.
Okay. So to me, then the next thing is when you're talking about fundraising, and we've heard it. If I don't have the proper facilities to support the NIL and the great coach, you're still wasting money. So again, it goes back to the alignment that Marcus talked about, is you got to start with the great coach, which means the people that are hiring have to understand what that definition means. If you don't know, call me. I will explain it to you, because I'll show you all the great coaches. Second of all, what is your long-term vision of bringing our facilities in the 21st century? So when we bring recruits in, they feel good. And then last, when we send them out into the world to Tasha and Ashley, that we're giving them something that is worth something. And then people, because again, the NIL thing is one of the hardest things. Trust me, I sponsor. That return on investment, you don't see it. It's hard. I sponsor stuff. I sponsor $10,000, $15,000, and I cut it off when I don't make my money back. So it's the same thing. If I'm seeing a guy that Tasha and Ashley are giving money to, and that guy ain't scoring touchdowns, it makes them harder for him to get the next guy, which goes back to the coach recruiting the players to score touchdowns.
Make it all work.
To make it all work.
But resources.
So I want to be clear on that it's not this magic bullet. Hey, we get this great NIL if we don't have the coach that can execute and recruit the players to make the NIL work. Because NIL is much
Yes.
easier if we got a guy, like I tell you, I'm going to use a simple example. If Andrew Bynum was at FAMU, I bet you NIL would be very easy for Tasha and them to get.
Yeah.
Conference Player of the Year, HBCU Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
It's Keith's fraternity, good-looking young man, come from a good family. That's easy to get Andrew money.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You got to be marketable. You got to be marketable.
You got to be marketable. So that's the
He has
part of
all of,
this
you
whole
got to
thing.
be part of it. Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there because I think we see these things and we say these things, but again, it all has to come in alignment when it comes to the point about a coach that is going to bring in the correct talent to even the NIL be worth it. So I just want, I got to put that out there.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to add is, I know Kelvin and I talked this about 15, 20 years ago, but we're seeing it rapidly now. We as fan bases and even the structure we put in our athletic department needs to be prepared for coaches leaving, putting them in a successful track, such that we are what I call a cradle of coaches, and they'll want to take our coaches because it's going to happen, and then be prepared for that eventuality by having a short list of people who are either on other schools that we can have, or people who are really, really, really up and comers. We see two Black coaches who are first-year coaches at PWIs take their teams to the respective conference championships and get plucked by other teams. I'm talking Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State. I've heard rumors about him. And you just saw Charlie Huff, who went from Marshall to Southern Miss and just got hired at Memphis. Mm-hmm. That's going to trickle down. And so we need to not only attract the type of coach who would garner that type of attention from a G5 or a P4, but also be able to continue to attract and have the infrastructure of our athletic department, regardless of the coach, because we have some other championship coaches who are at FAMU who could very well and may have already gotten offers from other schools because of what they've done with the resources that we have compared to the resources of a school who may be approaching them. So we need to be prepared. And that starts with the infrastructure, the alignment, and the systems in place.
Hey, man, who keep putting that ibis in the chat, man? Stop that.
Dude, I blocked that guy like years ago. I'm so sick of that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's
I blocked
the person
him
that
years
was
ago.
never mind.
We know who that is.
I don't support private schools in the state of Florida, especially that one. Oh man. All right. So we can head up out of here, right? What does FAMU do going forward? Obviously, we understand that there's an interim coach. We all know we got common sense. We know what it is. We know who it ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be Ed Reed. I can tell you that for now. But where does FAMU go going forward as far as hiring coaches and just the coaching philosophy and whatnot?
I'll go first. FAMU makes the best decision for whatever that is. I have been an advocate since forever. Interview everybody. Interview everyone. Open it up. If Queen Gray is the guy or whoever the guy is, good, but just make sure that we have opened it up to everybody that would like the job, that is interested in the job. I want the best candidate, and whomever that is, in every way, make sure that we make the best hire. Whomever, whatever, interview everyone and just make sure, because I told Ashley this two weeks ago, what we do now this is one of the most important hires in athletics in a while. What we do now will determine what our athletic department, especially in football, is going to look like for some years to come. So we need to make the best decision. And I think that means whomever, whatever, make sure that it is not about a friends thing. No politics, none of that. Make the best hire for FAMU and make sure that we interview everybody who is, or that we believe is interested.
I think that we already know there's some transition happening with it. We have an AD coming in very soon, a new AD coming in very soon. We have some transitional roles. So I think going forward, we really it's been probably said multiple times on just tonight alone, but we really have to put a system and the infrastructure in place from the top of the athletic department, which allows you to have vision for who your coach should be and what type of coach we want and need at FAMU. We do have a culture. We have a way about ourselves, which I believe is offensively minded, but that's my own personal opinion. I believe we should be an offensive-minded coach for the way we do things, the way Florida is set up from a recruiting perspective. That seemed to have worked for us in the past, and I think we should go in that direction. And if it's broke, don't fix it. I mean, if it's broke, ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's broke, so it needs to be fixed. And it's broken, which is why we're here today having this conversation. So it was defensive. Maybe we flip the coin and go offensive and try our luck, which we have known that to work in the past. But I'm going to say it again. I said it before. Winner's mentality. Confidence goes a long way. There's not anything you can do for yourself on the field, off the field, on the court, off the court, in everyday life if you're not confident in those things. And sometimes you shock yourself. I do get that because that's just the way life goes. But when we're talking sports, there's confidence. There's winner's mentality. There's knowing how to be a CEO and put pieces together and allow those pieces to work. Not micromanaging, not having your thumb on everybody. The things that really will derail a good thing. So for us, I think we need to find a coach who is offensively minded. If I were to pick, but since I'm not the one on the committee, or not even the committee, the AD that will pick someone who has a winner's mentality is the way I see it. Someone who can come here and rally the troops, keep the field house intact, keep the locker room intact, evaluate talent, and take us to the next level. Like, I mean, the bar is pretty low right now for us, but based on what's on paper. But real rattlers know that the bar is extremely high. So come in here with the bar set high, and we'll give you a chance to do the right thing. And we'll do everything to support you with all the resources that we bring.
Man, look, I was asked to pick what gospel song that I want for my mother's funeral. And I thought it was very interesting that I have always like God is trying to tell you something. Because that's the prodigal child coming home, right? So when I look at this past season, there was a problem with defense. I know a dude who had the number 4 defense in the nation. We had a problem with scoring points in offense. I know a dude who can score points, had a dynamic quarterback, and can pass the ball down the field.
Wow.
Preach.
Speak, Lord.
Come on now.
Speak to me.
I know that's
So,
right.
It is not my decision. I don't have no sway with nobody. I know one person, right? But God is trying to tell you something. He's been trying to tell you something since we got the lights at Bragg. He's been trying to tell you something since that night. I ain't saying that is the perfect hire. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying God is trying to tell you something.
Translation: follow the yellow brick road, stupid. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Literally a yellow road. You know, this is like a little yellow.
Yeah.
Literally.
That was no pun intended. I guess I'll go next. How does FAMU go forward? You know, well, first Ashley hit on it. You know, take care of the field house. My thing was, and I said it. Ironically, I took a screenshot of it. I have it in front of me. I said it back on October 14th. A new field house with 4 floors. Some people say go more. I know me and Keith talked about that too, like 7 floors maybe. But, you know, my thing was, you know, first floor, weight room, fueling station, locker rooms, turf room. Second floor, recovery rooms, athletic training rooms. Third floor, coaches' offices and meeting rooms. Fourth floor, an athletes only dining hall. I know some people, the student body may not like that, but that's what it takes. You know, your student athletes should not be eating what the rest of the population eats. They should be eating better. That sounds horrible, but it is what it is. Also, too, you know, again, how do you go forward? I think as well, too, you have to go offensive minded with the next hire. I think someone that, you know, understands the explosiveness of college football, someone that's not going to try to, you know, crowd the box or try to go I formation and 2 tight ends set every single time. Someone that's actually creative with, you know, play actions and motions and misdirections. and route concepts, someone that really understands that. I think you really have to like kind of go with someone who is that. Now, again, I'm a person that's kind of like beat the drum for Quinn Gray, and I've gone as far to even say, and I've told Keith and Marcus this in separate, chats in the past. I'm someone that says, maybe you get a deal with Mitchell and Ness, and maybe you sell Quinn Gray's 17 jersey in the bookstore, which I think wouldn't be a bad idea. I think people would buy it, honestly. But if it's not him, definitely find someone that has a strong offensive philosophy, someone that is creative, someone that knows how to make adjustments, someone that knows how to go into living rooms throughout the state of Florida, someone that's going to recruit from these high level programs all over the state of Florida, and even hit the JUCOs, and even get the guys that you need from those Power 5 programs out of the portal. Not saying go get everybody out of the portal, but get the ones at the positions of need that you need to fill gaps with. So I think that's how FAMU goes forward.
I will say this. Shout out to HBCU Coaches Corner. If you want to know what coaches we need to hire, go look at some of the coaches we interviewed. Every coach that could be a great coach at FAMU, I've interviewed them. So those names are already there, already listed. But I tell you what I do want, and I think I saw an old video of Willie Simmons talking to his team, and Bishop Bonner was in there. And you got to have somebody that can talk that FAMU talk. See, people don't understand. There's a certain talk that way we talk. And we need to have somebody that understands that. So be careful if you're talking about a celebrity, because there's things wrong with FAMU, and I don't need no Ed Reed situation. So don't get caught up in that. Also need a person that is not quiet and timid. Because when you go in that 220 club, they're going to ask you questions. And you better be prepared to answer. Mm-hmm. I've seen times when coaches walked in there and weren't prepared to answer questions. That's what you got to do. So you can't run from that. That's part of the FAMU culture going over there at that 220 club. So give me a guy. Quinn Gray is on one. I think him and TC Taylor on one side. That quiet, confident, but I know how this thing works because I was born here and raised here, and we're going to do it that way. And then you got the Trey Olivers and the T Jacks. They say, hey, listen, I don't care what Jackson State, Southern Bethune, I'm beating everybody's ass from day one. And y'all need to get on board with it. So either way you go, understand they both have the level of confidence to walk in front of the alumni saying, this is FAMU, and the only thing we do is win championships. Mm-hmm. If you ain't that guy, don't apply. And that's all I want to see. So I can tell you, I've interviewed those guys. Quinn Gray is that type of guy. Jermaine Jackson, that type of guy. Trey Oliver's that type of guy. Chennis Berry is that type of guy. I don't care. Like I say, if we got to go big game hunting, hey, talk to them all. Deshaun Jackson, that type of guy. Mm-hmm. Because this is what FAMU needs. It's no more of that. We need to sit back. Because first of all, these kids are not going to react to that. Because they're going to run you over.
Yeah.
TC literally had to sit down when they start running back. But I tell you what, though, he didn't play no games with it. I have to respect the coach like that. You don't get no specials over here. So I'm just letting everybody know I want a guy. And like I say, I love Quinn Gray. I think he'll be amazing. Any one of the people that I named, that's what I want to see walking through that door.
And that's your short list for everybody that kept putting it in the chat.
Because I'm definitely coming with some smoke. Let me go on and just let y'all know right now. I emerged from the smoke. I'm like Jeezy, baby. So real quick, look, cuz say quick. I just had the graphic ready. I had to adjust it a little bit, but the smoke is here. I ain't ducking not nan bit of smoke. So right now, first up, Quinn Gray, FAMU legend. I came to the herd. Yeah, I came to the herd. He just had the season he just had. And he did that with an injured quarterback, and they still almost won the game. Mm-hmm. Second, Jermaine Jackson. He applied for the FAMU job multiple times. You won't be ever, I promise you, in your life, be begging for fans to come out to homecoming and talk about where's my line. You won't never have that happen at FAMU. I promise you. You want to hear that FAMU talk? I grew up in FAMU. I talk that talk with you all day. Second one, Maurice Flowers, Johnson C. Smith. Why he's a program builder. FAMU does its best when we have people who can build programs. We're at our worst when we have people who are inexperienced, and normally defensive-minded coaches don't do well at FAMU.
Facts.
Ashley's telling you something. Next one, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Todd Knight. I ain't scared of white boys. At Newberry, he went over to Pensacola, applied belt to ass. He went down to Albany. Granted, he had a little bit of advantage, but he went in there and won. If you could do that twice, and Newberry normally has a pretty good Division II program. That's a call I make. And last one, Caleb Nobles, University of West Florida. We understand University of West Florida is making changes. They're going to make strides athletically to really catch up to where FAMU is. But we've seen what he could do firsthand. We watched him come in to brag and put a little bit of scare into some of us. So for me, those are 5 names I off the rip. And notice everyone except for Tremaine Jackson was somebody at Division II. The only reason I go ahead and jump on Tremaine Jackson is because 1, what he's already done, but 2, he's already applied for the job. He understands recruiting in that South Georgia, North Florida area. And I think, honestly, when you give him that kind of support, he got that talk. He got that walk with him. He walk around like that other side of 1911 all day, every day. He over there singing Omega hymns about Atlanta. I'm telling you, those are the type of guys you need at FAMU because it's a different bravado. We're arrogant. We're cocky. We brag different. We do. But you know why? Because we freaking earned it. Number 1 college HBCU of the year, public HBCU. Even when we're at our worst, you're still not better than us. So I'm sorry. If it doesn't seem like we're arrogant, we absolutely freaking are. But the truth is the light is what the good Lord says. So you know what? Come to the truth. Come to FAMU. Hire somebody who's qualified. And if you do that, I promise you, you're going to win.
Good commercial.
Straight facts.
Marcus?
I don't know if there's much more to add. Just well,
that's why I said Marcus.
I'll say this: make the best decision out of all the candidates, regardless of what influences that you get from whatever entity, whether it be fans or it be this, but because whoever's making this choice, that choice is going to be their legacy. I've told Kelvin this and Brian is, the last selection, the search committee had 3 people from staff, Billy Roll and Fred McNair, from what I understand, the selection committee, but the players and everything else. The search team had some overlap, I think Colzie and McNair, but all the other people, Tremaine Jackson, Van Malone, and some other folks, make the best decision because if the fans make the decision, we're not going to hold ourselves accountable. Somebody else is going to be accountable. So you make the best decision for the department, for the university, and someone that'll get everything back in alignment. Someone who's in alignment with the vision, someone who can bring some support and infrastructure and make sure there's a consistency around everything that we do and can build a program on what's already been established in the program.
All right, and I'll just say this. So I love the names that have been mentioned. I have no issue with any of them. What I will say is just like with any other job, and I've spent about 30 years in management, hired a lot of people. You're not going to interview the entire pool. You don't want to interview the entire pool. But there should be some things. And if you look at the previous candidate pool when we hired Colzie and the metrics that were used by the search firm, then you kind of have a template of what projected success would look like. And if you look at out of those candidates, I think 4 of them currently head coaches right now. So we have a template, number 1. But no, don't interview everybody. We have a time frame that we're working with also. So pick your top 5 and make a decision. But also it's important who's making a decision. If you ain't qualified, you ain't got the experience, sit it out, let the person who does make the decision. Yep. And then put all your resources and weight behind. Once the decision is made, it's our job as well as everybody else's job to make sure that's a successful decision. This is not rocket science. The head coaches, there's a couple of names I just throw out there outside of them. Let me just say, I'm a QG guy, but I'm not anti anybody else if they qualify and come with the right skill sets. But since names have been thrown out there, of course, Benedict coach, who's also at West Florida as a OC and has been a head coach. And of course, his only loss this year in his first year with Benedict was to Quinn. Would be a respectable candidate. Dr. Henry Frazier, I think he's at Virginia State, if I'm not mistaken. Been a head coach at the FCS level, been at other programs, been pretty successful at Virginia State. Qualification-wise, fine. Now, we've already established and said that head coaching and successful experience is important. And I'm with Keith. Color don't matter for me, but orange and green and winning. And there is one candidate that I advocated for, frankly, to be the interim when he was here that I'll be fine with, and that's Smitty Rock.
Me too.
You know,
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna just leave that right there. But I think this decision happened sooner than later, and we'll this I'm gonna say this time next week at the latest. We'll know what we need to know. That's all I got.
Hey, just a quick thing, just to let everybody know, because the next deadline, again, the transfer portal opens up January 2nd to the 16th. So, to Kelvin's point, that's the reason why. Because, again, when it opens up, you got to already be talking to people. You got to already know what you're looking for. So, I think that's very important that people need to understand, because we were never going to be big. I already knew that anyway, no matter who the coach was. We were never going to be big on the high school this year, just because you got a new coach and they're going to try to flip that thing as quick as possible. I think a coach comes to the next year, like what you see with Prairie View and what you see with Jack State, then you can start building through the high school ranks. But any coach is going to come in here, he's going straight portal hard, and I'm not mad at him. So, I just want to kind of put that out there as a timeline, because, Kevin, I think that's important what you're saying about the time now as far as a hire.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel the same way. I definitely bounce a little bit back though, because I think depending on who the new coach is, you'll be able to retain some of those athletes who have hit the portal, because I don't feel like some of the players have hit the portal because they didn't like the current administration. They didn't feel respected. And I'll leave that there. I do feel like some of those guys will be willing to stay with a change of guard.
Yeah,
I can confirm. I've had conversation,
Same.
and that's a fact for some of those that will happily return.
Yeah.
Something else we need to kind of be aware of. I do not think it will be good form to overshadow the Celebration Bowl, so I don't think this will be a Friday announcement, Thursday announcement. So I'm looking for something relatively soon or early next week.
Yeah, and let me say this. When I said that we need to, my thing is, I understand that we don't have time to interview everyone, but what I don't want is there to be this idea of we have our guy. I want you. I'm just saying, for me, I want to make sure that there is no stone unturned. We know we don't have time to interview everybody that applies. But don't this is our guy, us. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Unless it's our guy.
Huh?
Yeah, because they're gonna do that license in the state of Florida. Like they got their three candidates.
That's what we
guy
do.
down too. And
that happens everywhere.
What's your plan? I want because this is the hire. This is a big time hire. And so yes, You might have our guy, but take your guy through the ringer, question him too. And if somebody else comes along and our guy don't have the right kind of response that somebody else does, then we need to make the right hire for FAMU. Don't just hire the guy. That's all I'm saying. We need to, because this is not about us or any, it's about what's best for the program. Absolutely.
Right.
So
but we all know.
So our guy better be a winner.
Right.
Whoever that is.
We are saying the same thing. Yeah.
I'm saying the same thing.
Right. We're saying the same thing.
Whoever
we know the state of Florida. We know the rules.
I'm like Ashley say, I'm leaning on the shield. I'm riding with the shield. So whoever that is, if the guy is the guy, cool. But if somebody else is the guy, let him be the guy.
And the guy better be a winner.
You need 3 people to apply for the job.
Whoever it is.
So you get your guy and you get your 2 others. And 2 others can get an interview and they can do as well as they want. But we know your guy is gonna get the job. Like it's a
win, baby, win.
Ain't nothing changed. We
know how it is
working for the state of Florida.
You right, Josh. Nobody get a pass now.
Yeah.
No.
Nobody get a pass, but that track record gonna carry some people. Oh man, look, we went a little minute today. We definitely did. It was definitely needed, man.
I gotta say one thing. That was when Kevin was like, "Oh yeah, we gonna go on Wednesday." I'm like, "Bro, you tripping?" I'm like, "Wednesday."
Yeah, for real.
I'm about to call everybody. They gonna come on Coach's Corner tomorrow. We about to do a show.
That's what I call everybody.
Hey, me and Tashay was saying the same thing. This is an opportunity right here now.
Get jumped. I'm like,
yeah.
For the record, I ain't gonna throw nobody in the bus, but it wasn't Kelvin.
Oh goodness, wasn't Keith either. I say that. But look, y'all, we got to make sure everybody signs off. Thank y'all for coming all season long. Thank y'all for dealing with but we had fun. This was something we found to be cathartic, energetic, and honestly, I don't think therapeutic. I don't know if this contributed to whatever this is, but I do know for us that are FAMUans, it was helpful to have a place where we could vent and talk. And I don't doubt that those in power are also watching and listening. You'll be surprised how many times they parrot some of the stuff that is said on some of these shows. But we're gonna make sure everybody's the sign offs. I'm gonna start off with Marcus. I know Marcus is staying late. Y'all know Marcus love y'all because it's late. Marcus, go ahead. Let us know because I know you got things to do.
Pulling the Brian on me, but yeah, Marcus Green, one of the co-hosts on the ONG Strike Zone. Pleasure to be on with all my FAMUly and just thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Marcus. I forgot to give Marcus the big screen. I was over here trying to multitask and manage multiple things. Troy, come on through. Let us know, everybody know where they can find you. Look, Troy got some plans going himself.
All right, so you can find me at watch.fatmouthsports.net. That's our YouTube channel, Fat Mouth Sports. On Tuesday nights, we have the Strike Season podcast. And then on Thursday nights, we have the Gathering of Old Men podcast. This Thursday, we will not be broadcasting. It is Celebration Bowl week, so that will be our travel day. Friday, look for us to broadcast. Hopefully, I see some people from Atlanta that I can get on the show and have a good time with. But as always, lead with love. And I want to thank again everybody that sent love and prayers from my mom.
Ashley, come on through.
Shout out to myself, my girl, Fang Exchange. You all on this podcast panel have championed Fang Exchange and we appreciate it more than you probably ever know. It is really hard work. We talk about this day in, day out, morning, night, noon. When we get off on here, we're probably gonna be talking about it again because we got a situation we're working on. So it's a never-ending, difficult task, but somebody has to do it, right? So why not us? So with that being in mind, you can find us at Fang Exchange on any social media platform, literally just Fang Exchange. My boy Troy over here has the logo in your background. Do a little matrix for me, Troy. There you go. Fang Exchange right there. The website, www.fangexchange.com. We are heading towards new horizons as we look for a new head football coach. We have other programs though, so keep that in mind. We have volleyball, we have softball, we have baseball, we have basketball, men's and women's. We have tennis and golf and all the things. So we are not just here to support football as much as we talk about football ad nauseum. We have multiple sports, right? So come check us out, shoot us a DM, send us an email. Ask us any questions you have. Let's get these memberships up. You know, we talk about NIL, we talk about rev share. The school is going to take care of rev share. That's not what we take care of over here at FAMU Exchange, but we can improve our NIL, which is an additional help to our student athletes. And for the record, once again, FAMU Exchange, along with other entities at the university, we have been engaging in NIL since 2023. Stop your narratives, non-rattlers, because it's not true. Thank you.
Dang. Okay. Come on. Look, Tashay, come on, piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I'm my girl
My
said it all
fake
pretty much. We do have a show on Thursdays. So come check us out Thursdays at 9:00. And I'm just gonna add this one little thing because I was watching the Board of Trustee meeting and NIL was brought up and Trustee Mike White mentioned NIL. And I'm gonna just use my good brother Deion Sanders. We ain't hard to find. FAMU Exchange is right here. Okay. We ain't hard to find. Come, make sure y'all come find us. Come hit us up. We've reached out. We ain't hard to find. Okay, FAMU NIL is right here at FAMU Exchange on every platform: Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram. Info at FAMU Exchange is the email address. However you want to contact us, bird signal, pigeon. We ain't hard to find.
Did she say pigeon?
She said pigeon. She did.
Bird signal.
Bird signal. Mr. Campbell, come on through.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna say this. You know, this was great, but you know how you ever had that? It's great to visit, but I don't want to live there. I don't want to live this ever again.
No.
So we can do this next year, but I want to do this like Jackson State and PV and South Carolina State on a winning track. So I don't want to visit. We done visited this. I'm leaving that in the background. So I want to say I think it was awesome. You know, Kelvin, Brian, keep. And I'm just gonna say, bro, you ran the ship perfectly, outstanding. So moderating, young brother, appreciate you. So hey man, just real quick, HBC Coaches Corner tomorrow. You know, we know a lot of coaches. We're probably gonna have it, but on Friday, if you're gonna be in Atlanta, we're having HBC Coaches Corner live from 8 to 10 at the Embassy Suites. And you can come eat dinner at Roof Chris, get you a drink, and come hang out with us. If you guys are other podcasters looking for a place to do your podcast from, come holler at us because we're going to have it all set up and everything. Give me a shout, and I can probably get you in there on some different times. But, you know, big Celebration Bowl week, man. It's a great week. Well, come on. Hey, I got you a drink already.
You didn't invite me. I'm coming.
Well, listen, hey, we inviting everybody. If you in Atlanta, Embassy Suites in Buckhead. Shout out to our Rattler brother that set it all up. So, man, we're super excited. We're going to have some big coaches on. You know, we probably had the coaches from Celebration Bowl. You know, that's how we do. And one other thing, last thing I will say, you know, man, no matter what has happened in the past, that does not dictate our future. Rattlers are going to strike, and strike again.
Come on through, J Peeps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First things first, I do want to say, you know, appreciate, you know, Kelvin, Keith, Marcus, also Brian for, you know, putting this together on Monday nights. I've enjoyed this. You know, sometimes, you know, you shouldn't cuss on other people's platforms. I try to do better. I'm going to try to do better next year and everything. But I did, honestly, I enjoyed this. This was awesome, you know, getting to watch film and really just breaking it down, seeing everybody every week. This has been great. Also too, shout out to Mr. Campbell. I haven't like tallied up the numbers yet.
Mine's looking bad, bro. It's looking bad.
He was our guest picker. But I mean, hey, look, we're gonna see what happens. I know mine didn't look that good either. Hopefully when the playoff starts, I can get out of my slump. But also, you know, again, I will also say FAMUly, Rattler Nation, the sun will shine on us again. Absolutely. It will. And then as well too, Running Gun Podcast, Wednesday night, me, Ace, Mr. Sasser. There is no countdown to kickoff until Orange Blossom Classic 2026. Me and Bishop are taking a little bit of a break right now for the Rattler Roundup podcast, but that will also return too. And again, Wednesday night, if y'all, I know some of you guys are in your feelings about how the playoff came out and stuff. So by all means, come on Wednesday. We'll discuss it. We'll debate it. Because that playoff video, that was crazy. I don't know who wants to be up at 2 a.m. talking playoff football with our ugly mugs. But again, you know, come on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We'll be talking about it.
All right, let me come on through. Sorry, I was trying to read that stuff there. Sorry, Marcus, I saw you put some in the comments there. But I know personally, man, I just want to make sure I say thank you to everybody. First and foremost, let me say thank you to Coach Colzie. Colzie actually came into the Fangs Up podcast right at the time when he first started. So I don't want anybody to ever think I was rooting against him. I'm always rooting for FAMU. And so just like I said with Marvel, your success is my success as a FAMU. So it is bittersweet, but it's also understandable. Somebody gave me this information best when it comes to coaching. It's transactional. So as much as I like people as a person, the results just dictate, what goes forward. And much like Tashay mentioned, like if we don't do what we got to do in the classroom, we're going to be replaced too. So thank you for that. Also, thank everybody for showing up. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We definitely have seen our numbers for each one of our podcasts go up. Thank y'all for sharing. We are trying to get some certain numbers, but we just want to make sure. I want to make sure I say thank you. I've enjoyed the season. Much to Kelvin's point, we were like, man, we might do this Wednesday, and then this news hit. We were like, yeah, we can't wait till Wednesday. We got to get out in front of this. So thank y'all for sticking with us, hanging with us. We are looking forward to next year's show. We have 400 people watching the show. Can all y'all like it? I do understand that things happen, but can all y'all like? We are looking forward for next year. Next year, give us your suggestions. You can email Fangs Up Podcast with your suggestions. Hit up the BCSN with your suggestions, and we will take them into account. Brian and I are definitely actively working on some things to modernize our shows because we know the off season's coming. We know y'all watch other people and y'all do some other stuff on their shows. So we want to see y'all do some of those things on our shows too. But and we also want to continue to encourage you to support the Fang Exchange and everybody because as y'all do know, we love FAMU. We love FAMU with all of our hearts, and we wouldn't do this if we didn't love FAMU because it ain't like we're getting a big check for this. We're doing this for the love of FAMU. So, to continue to support Rattler Boosters. If you are so inclined, you want to join, the Rattler Boosters are definitely looking. They need your leadership. They need your support. NAAA, as y'all see, they need your help in some form or fashion. So don't give up on FAMU just because you are frustrated with some of the outcomes. Yeah. I do know some of you have pulled back your support, some of us. But let's find other ways that you can support Mother FAMU because she's given so much to you when you didn't have it. So again, thank y'all for supporting Fangs Up. It's still gonna be Thursdays and Sundays. We ain't changing nothing. We just gonna try to add and enhance a little bit, much like my brother Big Country told me, Kappa shouldn't change you, should enhance you. Much like the Fangs Up podcast. Going into next year, we're not going to change much, but we are going to try to enhance it and make it a better product for you and yours.
All right. I just want to say thank you to the panel for embracing this opportunity and bringing your platform collaboratively with ours and to give this kind of content to our audiences. I think all of us have seen a boost. And I would tell you the feedback is off the charts. It's phenomenal. People love this format when we come together. So we will be doing some here and there basketball stuff also and other sports. We want to keep this going. We're supposed to have, I think, the most of us Wednesday. We kind of doing a mass show for Wednesday. We'll see how many can make it, but because we still have the football season review that we got to talk about, but we only wanted to focus on the news of the day today. Also on that Wednesday show, we a lot of us talk about Fang Exchange and the 88 class and different initiatives track that we support. Well, we have Rick Kinsey to talk about the track initiative, and we're gonna make one final push to exceed what the goal was, which was 40K. I kind of know some things, but I'll save it for Rick to get here and just be prepared to give. And we have a lot to be proud of because almost every initiative, whether it been golf and canopies and nutrition as Fang and Chase boosters and others, 220 Club that came, is a lot of things out there where we've met all those goals. We've hit them all. Mm-hmm. So we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk, and it's important that those of you who are out there who watch this show that you support our platforms, number one, so you can get accurate and good information. and not street committed stuff. Then the other part is we keep you invited. We informed on what's going with all things FAMU and all sports FAMU. Everybody want to talk about football, and it's important. It is the cash cow, but we bring you the coaches from all the sports. We bring you the recruits from all the sports. We bring you the student athletes. We bring you the administration. And so if you all have someone you want to see, please reach out to us on the ONG Strike Zone Gmail account, and or instant messengers on any of our social media platforms to give us ideas. We open and to any of those. And last but not least, I'm looking forward to this process, the completion of this process, the functionality of this process with our coach, that we get the right person. And then when the decision is made, again, it's our job to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful, that we support our student athletes and our administration and return FAMU football to the top of the throne where it belongs. That's all I have. Go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, can I say one thing to you, though?
Yeah.
If we hire a coach, tell Brian we ain't waiting till no Wednesday. We get right back on. If he hired tomorrow, we running right back.
We own it. We own it.
Thursday, we running back. You can tell Brian because he already got to set up. He'll let you know we running back.
Hey, to that point, is he here right now? And are we on?
Hey, we got the Avengers without Nick Fury tonight.
That thing drop on Thursday night. The Avengers is
back.
Absolutely. 100%. You got it.
As long as y'all know. I got all y'all numbers. I can get a contact. We have a coach's corner OG on y'all.
Right.
Look,
everything must stop.
We have to get our T-shirts for next year that say FAMU Avengers.
Yeah. I got some ideas on that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Just want to put it out there. I ain't want to have no problem, Kel. When I text you, bro, I'm like, hey, man got hired one time.
Hey, I'm glad you pushed it because me and Tashay was like, I know we're not going to miss this moment.
Look, no,
I couldn't do it.
You got too many aggressive minds in one area. That man.
Let me go ahead and save my tweet in the drafts for when that happened.
The Mighty
Avengers,
Queen.
Avengers Unite. That's how we're gonna all tweet. Avengers Unite when it happens.
Right.
Like the Power Rangers. We're gonna pop out like the Power Rangers.
I want to make sure I thank everybody on the panel, though. Everybody for coming out, making time. Thank y'all. Y'all been Avengers. Y'all made this an amazing season. It's been a lot of fun. And man, when I tell y'all, I tell people all the time about my FAMUly, you wouldn't believe what my FAMUly is like. And my FAMUly is better than yours. So I'm sorry, you should have went to FAMU like me. But, and if you had, your family would be great like mine. But we different, we brag different, but we love different too. And so, thank y'all for coming in here. When we do announce whoever the coach is, the Avengers will reassemble. And if not, as many of us as possible will be there. Nick Fury will be there on Wednesday with us. So, we'll have that as well. So any parting words before we let everybody head up out of here?
I already said mine.
Go Rattlers.
Go Rattlers. Scared money don't make money.
Go Rattlers. Scared money don't make money. Y'all already know the Rattlers will always strike and strike. And strike again now.
Here they come.
And don't forget, the 100 is bringing belt to ass to Atlanta. I'm sorry. Next squad, let y'all know 100 ain't playing with Southern. Y'all got one drum major. We got 5.
Back to back.
All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all Wednesday. And if we get a coach before then, y'all might hear from us before then. All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all later. And the Avengers will reassemble.